Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really zeroing in on a pretty critical role in the whole business technology world,
Hmm.
the CRM consultant.
Right.
Now, you probably know customer relationship management systems, CRMs, are, well, vital for managing customer interactions, data, all that stuff. But how does someone actually help companies, pick the right one, implement it, make it work?
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we're actually looking at a guide from Resume Gemini. It's framed around interview questions for this kind of role,
Okay,
but we're sort of flipping it. We're using those questions as a way to unpack what a CRM consultant really does. The challenges they face, the skills they need.
makes sense. So our mission here is to pull out the key insights from that guide, give you a really clear picture of the role and the whole CRM landscape, whether you might work with consultants, maybe you're thinking about the field yourself, or you're just curious.
Yeah, the goal is you walk away informed without having to wade through the whole guide yourself.
Perfect. Let's dive in then.
Okay, so fundamentals first. The guide kicks off there. CRM, at its core, it's about using tech to manage, well, basically every interaction, every piece of data related to customers, keeping it all in one place.
Like a central command center for customer stuff?
Kinda, yeah. A central nervous system is a good way to think about it. And it's not just one monolithic thing. The guide breaks it down into key components.
Right. What are those?
Well, first up is contact management. That's your digital address book, basically. Storing names, emails, history, keeping it organized. Sounds simple, but
Can get messy fast if it's not done right.
exactly. Then you've got the real engine, maybe sales management. This is all about tracking leads, opportunities, managing that whole sales pipeline, seeing deals through.
Okay, driving revenue.
Precisely. And working closely with that is marketing automation. Automating email campaigns, segmenting your audience list, seeing what's working, what's not, making marketing more efficient.
And then after the sale.
Critically, yes, customer service. Handling support tickets, tracking issues across different channels, phone, chat, email, whatever, keeping customers happy after they've bought something.
So it covers that whole journey.
It aims to. And tying it all together, you have analytics. This is huge, taking all the data from sales, marketing, service, and turning it into, well, useful reports, dashboards, understanding what's actually going on.
So you can make smarter decisions based on, actual data, not just gut feelings.
That's the idea, making data-driven decisions.
And it's interesting how they all link up. A good CRM isn't just separate buckets. It connects the dots across that customer lifecycle.
Totally. And because different businesses have different needs, the guide points out there are different flavors of CRM systems. It mentions 4 main types.
Okay, what are those variations?
First is operational CRM. This is probably the most common one people think of. It's about automating those everyday tasks, sales workflows, service ticketing, marketing emails, streamlining operations.
Making things run smoother day to day.
Right. Then there's analytical CRM. This one's all about the data insights, using techniques like data mining to really understand customer behavior, spot trends, maybe predict things, think complex reporting, forecasting.
More about understanding why things are happening.
Exactly. Then you have collaborative CRM. This is focused internally, really, making sure different teams, sales, marketing, support, can actually share information easily and work together, breaking down those silos.
So everyone has the same view of the customer.
That's the goal. And finally, the guide mentions strategic CRM. This isn't so much a specific type of software, but more an approach, using the CRM data and capabilities to inform the big picture business strategy.
Like deciding which customer groups are most valuable long term.
Yeah, things like that, using customer insights to drive strategy.
Okay, so lots of options depending on what a business needs. Which brings us to the big question. Why do companies invest in this? What are the payoffs?
Well, the benefits, the source lists are pretty compelling. Top of the list is usually improved customer service and satisfaction. If your support agent knows the customer's history, they can solve problems faster, right? It feels more personal.
Makes sense. And happy customers probably lead to more sales.
Directly. Which connects to the next benefit, increased sales productivity and efficiency. Sales teams aren't scrambling for info, they can focus on selling. The system helps manage their tasks, pipeline.
Streamlines their work.
Yeah. And marketing gets a similar lift with enhanced marketing effectiveness. Better data means you can target your campaigns much better, which usually means higher conversion rates, less wasted effort.
And beyond those frontline teams.
There's improved operational efficiency and cost reduction overall. Automating manual processes saves time and money across the board.
Right. Fewer errors, Faster workflows.
And looping back to the data point, better decision making. When you actually know what's happening based on real data, you can make much smarter strategic choices.
That data-driven piece seems key. Now, the guide also clarifies something that sometimes gets mixed up with CRM, SFA, or Salesforce automation. What's the difference there?
Yeah, good clarification. It's actually pretty straightforward. CRM, like we've been saying, covers the whole customer lifecycle marketing, sales, and service. It's the bigger picture.
Okay, the entire relationship.
Right. Whereas SFA is specifically focused on just the sales part of that process, automating lead tracking, opportunity management, sales forecasting, that kind of stuff.
So SFA is really a subset within CRM.
Exactly. Think of SFA as a powerful module or component inside a broader CRM system. Or sometimes it can be a standalone tool just for the sales team, but CRM is the umbrella.
Got it. That distinction matters, especially if
Yeah.
you're a consultant helping a company figure out what they need.
Absolutely, because a massive part of a CRM consultant's job is guiding companies through the implementation process. And that's where things can get really tricky.
I bet. The guide talks about what goes into just choosing the right system first,
Right.
what factors are key there.
Well, it's definitely not one size fits all. The absolute first thing is aligning with the business requirements and goals. What specific problems are you trying to solve? What outcomes do you need?
Makes sense. Don't just buy tech for tech's sake.
Right. Then scalability and flexibility. Will the system grow with the company? Can it adapt if the business model changes down the line? You don't want to outgrow it in 2 years.
Future-proofing it, sort of.
Kind of, yeah. And a huge one. Integration capabilities. Does it connect easily with other essential systems the company already uses, like their ERP for finance and operations or their marketing automation platform?
Ah, getting different systems to talk to each other. Always a challenge.
Always. You need that unified view. Then there's user-friendliness and adoption. This is critical. If the system is clunky or hard to use, people just won't use it, or they'll find workarounds.
This defeats the whole purpose.
Totally.
Yeah.
You also need to look at the vendor reputation and support. Is this a reliable company? Will they provide good support when you inevitably run into issues?
Good point. And the bottom line,
And of course, cost and budget. Not just the initial license fees, but implementation costs, training, ongoing maintenance, the total cost of ownership.
so a lot to weigh up just in the selection phase, but then comes the actual implementation. What are the best practices there, according to the guide?
Yeah, getting it rolled out successfully is another beast. The guide emphasizes starting with defining clear project goals and objectives. What does success look like specifically? How will you measure it?
Being really clear on the why.
Exactly. And crucially, secure stakeholder buy-in and engagement. You need everyone from executives down to the end users invested in the project from the beginning. If they feel it's being done to them, not with them,
Adoption will be a nightmare.
a nightmare. Then, obviously, choose the right CRM system and vendor based on those factors we just discussed.
Okay, makes sense.
Then you get into the technical nuts and bolts. Plan for data migration and integration. This is often a huge task, cleaning up old data, mapping it to the new system, making sure it transfers accurately, and then connecting the CRM to other tools. It's complex.
Sounds like a potential headache.
It often is. And you absolutely can't forget the people side. Train users thoroughly and provide ongoing support. You can't just launch it and walk away. People need training, resources, help adapting their workflows.
Continuous process, not a one-off event.
Right. And finally, monitor and evaluate CRM performance. Are you actually hitting those goals you defined? Are users adopting it? What needs tweaking? You need to track it.
But even if you follow all those steps, things can still go wrong, right?
Yeah.
The guide mentions challenges.
Oh, absolutely. Implementation is risky. The source is pretty upfront about common pitfalls.
Like what? What are the big ones?
Well, number one is almost always data quality and accuracy. Garbage in, garbage out. If the data migrated or entered is messy, incomplete, or just plain wrong, the CRM's value plummets.
Undermines everything else.
Pretty much. Then back to the people side, user adoption and resistance to change. People get comfortable with old ways, even inefficient ones. Getting them to embrace a new system takes real effort and change management.
The human factor again.
Always. Then there's integration with legacy systems. Trying to connect a shiny new cloud CRM to, some ancient internal database built 20 years ago, that can be technically very difficult and expensive.
Like fitting a square peg in a round hole.
Sometimes, yeah. Security and privacy concerns are also huge, especially with sensitive customer data. You need robust security measures and compliance adherence.
Non-negotiable these days.
Definitely not. And the classic project killer, project scope creep and budget overruns. It's easy for requirements to expand mid-project, pushing timelines and costs way beyond the initial plan if not managed tightly.
Keeping the project on track.
Yep. For really large companies, enterprise-level projects, the guide outlines a more structured, phased approach. It basically breaks down those best practices into stages.
How did that look?
It typically starts with assessment and planning, really deep discovery, analyzing current processes, interviewing users, gathering detailed requirements, defining the precise scope.
Laying the groundwork very carefully.
Exactly. Then vendor selection, which involves rigorous evaluation, demos, maybe a proof of concept, checking references.
Due diligence.
Right. Then customization and integration. This is where a system is configured, setting up fields, workflows, reports, and connected to other enterprise systems like ERP or data warehouses.
The build phase.
Pretty much. Followed by data migration, which in an enterprise context can involve migrating massive volumes of data, often requiring significant cleanup and validation.
A major undertaking.
Huge. Then user adoption and training on a large scale, developing comprehensive training programs, managing the change across different departments and user groups.
Getting hundreds or thousands of people up to speed.
Exactly. And it doesn't end at go live. There's ongoing support and maintenance, providing help desk support, managing system updates, making enhancements, continuously optimizing. It's a life cycle.
Wow, yeah, that really highlights the complexity a consultant helps navigate.
Mm.
Which leads us right to it. What does a CRM consultant actually do, day in, day out? What are their core responsibilities, according to the guide?
Okay, so it breaks down into a few key areas. First is consulting and planning. This is the upfront work, analyzing the client's business, interviewing stakeholders to really understand their needs and pain points, and then developing that strategic plan or roadmap for the CRM project, setting the direction.
The strategy piece?
Right. Then they move into system design and configuration. This is more hands-on with the technology. Customizing the CRM platform, designing the data model, setting up automation rules and workflows.
Like if a lead reaches a certain stage, automatically send a task to a salesperson.
Exactly, stuff like that. Also configuring security roles and permissions and managing those crucial integrations with other systems, ERP, marketing tools, you name it, making it all work together technically.
The technical architect role, almost.
In many ways, yes. Then there's data management and analysis. This involves ensuring data quality, helping define key performance indicators, KPIs.
Those measurable metrics for success we talked about.
Precisely. They build reports and dashboards to track those KPIs, analyze the data to find insights, and identify opportunities for optimizing processes based on what the data shows.
Using the data to prove value and find improvements, that's where that statistic comes in, right?
Yeah, the guide mentions a study. I think it said 68% of businesses reported better customer satisfaction after implementing CRM. Consultants help track metrics like that to demonstrate the ROI and find where to focus next. They're not just building it, they're making sure it delivers results.
That's a powerful number. Shows the potential impact. What's the last key area?
The fourth one is training and user adoption. This is all about the people again. Developing training materials, conducting workshops, providing ongoing support, monitoring how well people are actually using the system, and addressing any resistance.
Championing the change.
Exactly, because if users don't adopt it, the project fails, no matter how good the tech is.
So it's this blend. Part business analyst, part tech expert, part data whiz, and part change manager, really.
That sums it up pretty well. It's a very multifaceted role.
And the guide, using its interview question angle, gives clues about what skills and knowledge are most valued for someone in this role, right? What should they highlight?
Yeah, looking at the advice tells you a lot. First, obviously, researching the company and the specific role you're talking to them about, showing you understand their context, not just generic CRM stuff.
Makes sense. Tailoring your approach.
Then, highlighting your CRM expertise is key. You need to talk concretely about successful projects, how you've used data analysis, maybe optimized a specific process, or successfully handled user training. Give real examples.
Prove you've done it before.
Absolutely. And beyond the CRM specifics, showcasing your consulting skills is crucial. This means your communication, how well you listen and articulate ideas, your analytical skills, how you manage stakeholder relationships, problem solving.
The soft skills that are actually really hard.
Exactly. The guide even mentions using the STAR method: situation, task, action, result to structure your examples. It's a classic way to demonstrate those competencies really clearly.
Good tip. What about the technical side?
Definitely be prepared for technical questions. You need to know your way around popular CRM platforms. The guide mentions Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics 365, Oracle Siebel as common examples. These are the tools of the trade.
So knowing the specific systems.
And the underlying concepts. Things like how to configure custom fields, set up automation or workflows, manage security settings effectively, best practices for data management, and how to tackle those tricky integration challenges. You need that foundational technical knowledge.
It sounds like a field where you really have to keep learning. How do consultants stay current? The guide touches on that.
It does, briefly. It mentions the usual ways, really. Attending industry conferences, reading trade publications and blogs, networking with peers, participating in online communities or user groups for specific platforms like Salesforce or Dynamics. It's a fast-evolving space.
You have to keep up.
You really do. Which leads nicely into the final part of the guide, looking ahead at the future trends in CRM.
Okay, what's on the horizon?
Well, a huge one is artificial intelligence. AI. AI is increasingly being embedded in CRM to automate tasks, provide predictive insights like predicting which customers might leave, or suggesting the next best action for a salesperson, and enable much deeper personalization at scale.
AI taking over some of the analysis.
Existing actions, yeah. The shift to the cloud is also just continuing. Cloud CRM offers scalability, easier access, often faster updates. It's pretty much the standard now for new implementations.
Makes sense. What else?
Social CRM is becoming more integrated, pulling in data and interactions from social media platforms directly into the customer record for a more complete picture and real-time engagement opportunities.
Seeing what people are saying online about you.
Right. And mobile CRM access is basically table stakes now. Sales and service teams need to access customer info and update records from their phones or tablets while they're out in the field.
Essential for productivity on the go.
Definitely. And perhaps overarching all of this is a growing focus on the total customer experience, CX. Thinking about the entire customer journey across every single touch point and using the CRM as the core engine to deliver a smooth, consistent, positive experience.
Moving beyond just managing contacts to managing the whole experience.
That's the gist, yeah.
Okay, so we've really journeyed through this guide, starting with CRM basics, the different types, the benefits, clearing up SFA, digging into the weeds of implementation, understanding the consultant's day-to-day, the key skills, and now looking at future trends like AI and CX.
Yeah, it paints a pretty comprehensive picture. It's clear that being a CRM consultant isn't just about knowing software. It's this blend of technical skill, business understanding, data smarts, and crucially, people skills to manage the change involved.
It's about making the technology actually work for the business and its relationships.
Exactly. It's using technology to ultimately build better human connections with customers, ideally.
Which leaves us with a final thought maybe for you listening. As things like AI become more powerful in analyzing data and automating tasks, and as the focus sharpens on that overall customer experience, how do you see the balance shifting, between the tech, the data insights, and that essential human element of building rapport and trust in the CRM world?
Yeah. And what new skills or maybe combination of skills will be most valuable for navigating that future? It's definitely something to think about.
A constantly evolving field. We hope this deep dive gave you some useful insights to chew on.
Yeah, hope it was helpful.